Welcome to the Bird Season Podcast. I'm your host, Frank. Here, we will be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles during the season, stats, news, opinions, and more. So if you're a diehard Eagles fan, this is where you want to be right now. So clearly, this is the first episode to this podcast. And just to let you know, I have multiple podcasts. I'm more into, my main podcast has to do with true crime, unsolved mysteries, and things of that sort. But nonetheless, I am a diehard Eagles fan and I am a podcaster. And for quite some time, I've thought about doing a podcast for sports, specifically for the Eagles. I've started them, I stopped them. I had no time to do almost anything. I've been on and off on podcasts for quite some time due to work, but I'm trying to dedicate myself to this field of work, to podcasting, because I love podcasting. I love talking in general. And the thing is, one of my first podcasts that I did with sports, I actually did it around, I think, 2 years ago during the Super Bowl, and I actually had somebody on with me, and we had a conversation. So hopefully this goes into that place because, clearly it's better to actually have people talk with you about a certain topic or subject, depending if you're telling a story or not. But clearly this is sports, so with sports, you have to love debate and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to get my brother or somebody else onto this show and talk about the Eagles. But nonetheless, we just started the season. And week 1 for the Eagles is in the books. And we won. Surprisingly, to be honest with you, if you ask me, I am honestly shocked that we won. Go ahead, Eagles fans, chew me up and spit me back out, because I know that there's a lot of people that believed that in reality we were going to win. But honestly, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think we would have won in general, just because of all the changes and everything that's been going on with the Eagles, new coach, questions about Jalen Hurts. I've spoken to other Eagles fans. A lot of people like Jalen Hurts. They didn't really like Carson Wentz because they feel like Carson Wentz wasn't really good. But to be honest with you, after watching the Colts game, I know that they lost and everything, but Carson Wentz actually looked good. I actually watched that game too because, if Carson Wentz plays a certain percentage, that second round pick becomes a first round pick. So I know all of us, especially us Eagles fans, we're dying and hoping that Carson Wentz stays healthy so that second round pick can eventually become that first round pick. But we won this game. We actually won this game, and I was surprised. And in the fashion that we won it, I was even more surprised. Now, just quick news before we go into the score and stats. Jordan Mailata signed a 4-year extension, if you didn't know. He did. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside had left early in the game with an ankle injury. I think it was in special teams or something like that happened. Zach Ertz had tweaked his hamstring as well. If you watch the game, clearly you know. But really, that's all the news I have for right now. And to be honest with you, this isn't really about news. This is more about the game. And that's why I decided to call this show the Birds Season, because I'm not planning to, and I'm being very honest, unless something changes down the road, but I'm planning just to do this podcast during the season. So it's basically a recap, my thoughts, and hopefully, I have some people on this show where we can debate or talk about the team in general and their performance and things like that. Just basically cookie cutter, something that you can listen to, enjoy, things like that. It's supposed to be entertaining, but I'm not going to put all of my effort or all of my time to this because, like I said, I do have another podcast where I do a lot of research and things like that. Unless something drastically changes, This is only going to be during the NFL season when the Eagles play. With that being said, we did beat the Atlanta Falcons 32-6. I know all you Eagles fans are happy. And not only the fact that we won 32-6, but in the form that we won. In the beginning, I was really questioning the fact if we were going to win, and if we were going to win, was it going to be a close game? I thought it would have been a close game. I thought if we would have won, we would have won probably by field goal or a touchdown at most. I did not see this happen. I did not see this coming. Like, this is a legit blowout. And the truth is, the team played outstanding offensively, defensively. So we're just going to look at some stats. Total net yards, we had 434 compared to the Atlanta Falcons that only had 260. Now, penalties, I'm not going to lie, first game of the season, hopefully we can clean some of this stuff up because penalties was a big thing in this game in general. I don't know about you, but I was kind of getting frustrated with the false starts and all that stuff and the holding. Even the defensive holding, I didn't understand those calls, and when I watched the replay, I was just frustrated more than anything. But we had 14 total penalties compared to Atlanta's 12, but they did have more penalty yards. They had 99 penalty yards compared to our 89, so only a 10-yard difference. It was what you would consider a sloppy game when it comes to penalty. Now, with time of possession, looking at this, honestly, it's very strange because I would have never thought that we held the ball for more time. We held it for 31 minutes and 3 seconds compared to Atlanta at 28, 57. Honestly, I felt like we didn't hold it as long as I thought we did, but clearly with the stats, we can see that we held it longer than Atlanta. Now, Jalen Hurts, 27 of 35, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I'm not going to lie. The biggest question I had coming into this game was Jalen Hurts. I felt like we were going to run the ball a lot, but clearly we actually threw the ball a lot. Now, a lot of the throws were short and intermediate throws. We didn't really go deep with a lot of throws. And a lot of the yardage came after the catch. So, like the Jalen Reagor touchdown, it was a screen, a wide receiver screen into the end zone. A lot of the yardage that we see here in the 264 yards, they were actually based off of the run after the catch because there was a lot of short throws, screen throws, a lot of dump offs and stuff like that. So, but nonetheless, the fact that he played turnover-free football and played really smart. Like, there was this one play that really caught my attention and just put into the back of my head that, okay, if he can continue to play this way, we're going to go far. When he was about to get sacked, the rush came in, they blitzed. He immediately ran to the right side, and he almost got sacked, but he stepped up, stood in play, and he didn't get sacked. He actually threw the ball out before he stepped out of bounds. So he didn't take that sack. He actually played very, very smart. And I like seeing that because let's be realistic. The issues that we had last year with Carson Wentz was holding the ball way too long and making boneheaded mistakes. Like, when you're playing in the NFL, you can't afford to do that. A lot of the best players know when to throw the ball away or when to take the sack. Because in reality, you never really want to take the sack, but sometimes you rather take the sack than, give a turnover. And that's the truth. So watching Jalen Hurts using his legs, he also ran 7 times for 62 yards. Using his legs and throwing, he looked really, really good. Now, this is only the first week. This is only game 1. The issue is consistency and health when it comes to our team, because let's be realistic. The Eagles have been so unlucky and so unhealthy for the past few years that there really hasn't been any consistency in the team when it comes to our receivers, our offensive line. And due to that, the quarterback play has suffered. And, we can throw all the blame onto Carson Wentz and stuff like that, but let's be realistic here. For the past few years, matter of fact, after our Super Bowl year, the consistency of the team had dropped so significantly that, we try to look for somebody to blame. And to be honest with you, just looking at how Wentz played as well today indicates to me that, it was time for change, but at the same time, it wasn't really his fault. It wasn't completely his fault what happened in Philly. And that's just the truth. But Jalen Hurts, if he can continue to play this way, and let's be realistic, everybody knows that the Atlanta Falcons are basically in a rebuild mode, just almost like us. So this game can mean a lot, or it can mean little to nothing. And the reason why I say little to nothing is because if you look at the team, we're basically two rebuilding teams. Now, Atlanta does have a lot of veterans still on the team, and to be honest with you, the way that they played was atrocious, because in reality, they kept trying to run the ball. And let's talk about the Eagles defense real quick, because the Eagles defense was stout. They looked good. When was the last time that they looked this good? They looked healthy. They were flying to the ball. They could not run. Well, they did run against us, but for some time, they couldn't. The first half was Atlanta's half. They were doing well, but then, the second half, we just shut them down. They couldn't do much. They really, really couldn't do much against us that second half. It's almost like the first half, the Eagles were we're warming up. And then the second half is nope, this ends here. And they looked good. Now, rushing stats, Miles Sanders, he had a day. He had a day. 15 times he ran, 74 yards, longest being 23. I think it's Kenneth Gainwell, 9 attempts for 37 yards and a touchdown. He actually looked really, really good as well, the rookie. And to be honest with you, it's just, the team all around the offense looked good. Devontae Smith, 6 receptions for 71 yards, a touchdown. Jalen Reagor, 6 receptions, 49 yards, a touchdown. Dallas Goedert. If you hear me saying this, it's because in reality, Jalen Hurts was distributing the ball almost everybody. Dallas Goedert, 4 receptions, 42 yards. Miles Sanders, 4 receptions, 39 yards. Zach Ertz, 2 receptions, 34 yards. Quez Watkins, 3 receptions, only 23 yards, but nonetheless, it's still early in the season. And Gainwell, 2 receptions for 6 yards. And 6'6", 4'4", 232. That's an order of reception. So he didn't just key on one receiver. He actually spreaded the ball, which is a good thing, because a good quarterback is always going to spread the ball. It keeps the defenses on their toes. And just the fact that we ran really well as well, the offense altogether, if you ask me, was phenomenal. They did a really good job. The coaches did a really good job of keeping it balanced. Yeah, we threw for a lot, but then you go ahead and add all the attempts of running, and it kind of balances out because it was 35 attempts, and you have Sanders that ran 15, Hurts that ran 7, and Gainwell that ran 9. So it was really a balanced offense, to be honest with you. Matt Ryan, we shut down Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was 21 of 35 for 164 yards. 0. When I say 0, I mean 0. A big zip. 0 touchdowns, no interceptions. And, the most yardage made. Just looking at the stat line, look at this. Cordarrelle Patterson, 7 attempts for 54 yards. He had a few breakout runs, but Davis, he had 15 attempts for only 49 yards. That is something where you can look at the defense and be like, hey, the defense played well. Like, the stats don't always say everything. Like, it doesn't always tell the story. If you watched the game that I watched, you would agree with me when I say that there was consistent gameplay. There was good calls when it came to calling out the plays from the coaches, and the players did their part. Because one thing is calling the game, but the players have to play the game. So, like, the coaches can call all the right calls, all the right plays, but it's the players' job to actually make sure that they do it, that they actually accomplish what is called out. They have to be able to do that. And to be honest with you, the team did so. Like, the team did so. And that defensive line, man, I'm telling you, the defensive line looked ferocious. I mean, we didn't blitz much, to be honest with you. We rushed 4 people almost throughout the whole entire game. And we were capable of doing this. Now, clearly, Atlanta had a rookie guard, and he was getting demolished. But this is a team, Atlanta is a team with a veteran quarterback who isn't a bad quarterback at all. Matt Ryan is really a good quarterback. Like, he's easily top 10, top 15 quarterback. And I'm surprised that Atlanta didn't put more on Matt Ryan's plate. I felt like they were so dedicated to running that in reality, they didn't. It was almost as if the coach was afraid for Matt to throw the ball. Like, even towards the end, they didn't throw the ball much. And that 21-35, 164 is an indication of our defense. But at the same time, I felt like on the opposite side, the Falcons, they didn't do a good job in calling the game in general. And today, if today is any indication, I feel like we can win the NFC East. I'm not going to jump the boat. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to make the playoffs. I think we can win the NFC East. I think watching Dallas in the opening season game against Tampa Bay, they did really well against Tampa. The defense was terrible, so that's a plus for us. But nonetheless, Dallas's offense is actually really, really good. And I think that when it comes to the NFC East, it's going to either be us or Dallas. I'm taking us, clearly. But I don't think it's going to be an easy route to winning the NFC East. I don't think it's going to be as easy as we think it's going to be. Honestly, I'm just being very honest when it comes to that. But I think we're more than capable of winning the NFC East. And if we can stay healthy and continue to play the type of football that we played today, I think that we can actually win the NFC East and probably push a little far in the playoffs. And like I said, it all depends on the team's health and consistency. If Jalen Hurts can play the way that he played today, turnover-free football and smart football, I think that, the sky's the limit for us, honestly. And I'm going to be honest with you, Devontae Smith looked really good. So if he stays healthy, because, we had a scare with him earlier in the offseason with his knee, God forbid, knock on wood, if he stays healthy and Jalen Reagor can play the way he played today as well, I think that we have something special on our hands here in Philly. But nonetheless, it's only week 1. This game looked really, really good. And it's the start of a resume for Nick Sirianni. But consistency and health is key for us to succeed this season. And I'm really looking forward to next week when we play, I think it's the 49ers. And the 49ers did really, really well today. So if we can go ahead and beat the 49ers, honestly, I think that the sky's the limit. If we beat the 49ers next week, that says a lot about this Eagles team. And that's just the truth. But with all that being said, thanks for tuning into the Bird Season podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week, we play against the Niners. So let's go, Birds.